Okay. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. On behalf of EduSIC and two partner organizations, Gusing Sadar and IMFS, I welcome you all on behalf of on this webinar. The aim of EduSIC is to promote the education of Sikhs. Sikhs, as the name suggests, are Shishya, the disciples or the students, one who are always ready to learn. So amongst other things, EduSIC tries to help in that direction by organizing meaningful programs which are useful for all segments of the community. We had earlier done a webinar on MSMEs and their importance, and it was very well received. It was for Sikh businessmen and professionals. Today's webinar aims to guide our young children who have given their 10th and are waiting for their results, and they are anxious about their careers, especially in this post-COVID world. But it is also useful for other students and parents, as today we have three very esteemed speakers who are stalwarts in their respective fields. We welcome Professor R.S.S. Mani, Sardar K.P. Singh Ji, and Colonel Mahinder Pal Singh Ji, and thank them for accepting our request to be here to guide us all. We encourage all the listeners today to ask as many questions and clear all doubts, as we seldom get such opportunity to have such knowledgeable speakers at one place. And before I introduce the speakers, I would like to request our co-partners, the president or the trustees of Shri Guru Singh Sabha, Dadar, who like us are always doing meaningful seva for the community, to say a few words on this occasion. Sardar Manmohan Singh Ji. हाँ जी.
वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. हाँ जी. First of all, I thank you one and all for registering in such not after 12. As far as I remember, साढ़े टाइम पे इस तरह होना चाहिए जिन्हें 10वीं पास कर ली, समझ लो बहुत बड़ा पड़ाव आगे पार हो गया है ना. And then was the 12th. In our times, coming in getting distinction, that is 75% was an achievement. Now 75% वाले को कोई it's not being recognized as a very great result. Fortunately, unfortunately, our system works on percentages. So all the more we have to be very competitive and get maximum numbers so as we are unable to get into good reputed colleges. Coming to the subject today, career guidance for what after 10th and 12th. In olden times, it was only one question was there, whether you want to go to commerce or you want to go to science. Now there are n number of streams open, and the times have changed a lot. Today, amongst us, we are very qualified and professional speakers who will be addressing to the subject and answering your questions. I won't take much of our time, and I'll request Paramjit Singh Ji to kindly start this seminar so as the maximum time is used constructively and our students get some meaningful and thoughtful, thought-provoking ideas, so as the coming generation, what we always say, Raj Karega Khalsa. So Raj Karega Khalsa will happen only when an educated people are governing, sitting on the governing chairs of these mantralayas and all these corporates. Then only the true Raj Karega Khalsa will be implemented and will come into existence. So I request Paramjit Singh Ji to start this program. And I once again I reiterate, Raj Karega Khalsa will only and only happen when every second person sitting in the seat of secretary, under secretary, chief secretary has the thoughts of Khalsa. So that will come only after we are we pioneer ourselves and we reach some good heights in education. So I request once again towards Raj Karega Khalsa, I'll request Paramjit Singh ji to kindly proceed further with this seminar. And I am very much thankful to each and every participant who may be listening to our talks. And I'm very, very much hopeful that you'll get some meaningful, thought-provoking ideas after this seminar. And I request all our partners that as we had done maybe last month at MSME ka seminar, this process should be ongoing, and at least once in a quarter we touch any subject and arrange these types of webinars so as the education is spread. One more thing I'll add and conclude. Sikhism is the religion of knowledge. When we call Shabad Guru, it is knowledge is Guru. That word is Guru, but the knowledge behind is Guru. So knowledge in any form, आज दुनियावी पढ़ाई है, and that is आध्यात्मिक पढ़ाई. So knowledge in any form is more than welcome. Sikhism, the word itself is to learn. So I conclude here and request Paramjit Singh ji to take this seminar forward. Thank you very much. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Right. Thank you, Manmohan Singh ji. Without wasting any more time, let's begin our program today. The format of the program is that each speaker will speak for around 10 to 15 minutes each. And thereafter, I will be briefing you all about some scholarships that are available for 6 students. This will be followed by question and answer session. We have already received some good questions, and you can all keep on posting your questions in the chat box, and we'll ask the speakers to respond to them at the end. With this, I now have the pleasure of introducing the first speaker of the day, Professor R.S.S. Mani. R.S.S. Mani is a founding member of the ITM family and has completed over 25 years of association with the group. He is acknowledged as one of the pillars of ITM and has been largely responsible for its phenomenal growth over the last 2 decades into one of the top business schools in India. He is currently Vice President, Institutional Development and Chief Mentor of ITM MBA programs across India. He is widely acknowledged as an institution builder and a renowned out-of-box management thinker. Professor R.S.S. Mani is highly regarded as an HRD guru in HRD circles for his pioneering contributions in the areas of training and development and career planning and guidance for students, faculties, and executives. He has also been part of selection boards of several large public sector and private sector organizations and also NGOs. He is a trustee and part of advisory boards of many reputed NGOs in Mumbai, Gujarat, and other interior parts of Maharashtra. He is a recipient of over 20 awards for his outstanding contribution to the cause of management education and career guidance, and for his contributions in the areas of educating the underprivileged. Recently, he has taken over as the president of Bombay Management Association for the year 2020-21. And above all, Professor Mani is a great human being and has been associated with our sister NGO Dharam Bharati Mission for a long time. Welcome once again, sir, and I request you to give your talk.
Namaskar, everybody. Thank you very much, Paramjit Singh ji, for all those good words. Good evening to my colleagues on the panel today. KP Singh, who's a good old friend. Lovely to see you online, though we are not able to meet physically. And we're honored today to have with us Colonel Manmohan Singh ji from the Armed Forces of India as part of the panel. I think all of us owe a salute to the Armed Forces for the wonderful work that they do to protect our country. We've been reading the e-newspapers, if not the newspapers. So I think a salute to them is due at the beginning of this program. I will follow the format of speaking alternatively in Hindi and English so that we can have a little comfort in terms of some people who may be from non-English backgrounds. सबसे पहले जो बच्चे आए हैं उनका मैं स्वागत करता हूं, उनके साथ जो उनके पेरेंट्स भी हैं उनको भी नमस्कार। आज हम आपको बताएंगे कि आपके बच्चे 10th के बाद क्या कर सकते हैं, और अगर ऐसे बच्चे हैं जो 12th में हैं अभी, तो 12th के बाद क्या कर सकते हैं। जैसा हम समझते हैं, ये जो 10th और 12th एग्जाम्स बच्चों की हैं वो बोर्ड एग्जाम्स कहलाती हैं, क्योंकि ये एग्जाम में उनकी कंपटीशन स्कूल में नहीं होती है, उनकी पूरी कंपटीशन स्टेट में होती है कम से कम। और इन एग्जाम्स के बाद उनको आगे चल के चुनना है कि वो अपने करियर में क्या करें। ऐसे हालत में जैसे बच्चे कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं। सही कहा था कुछ समय पहले हमारे मनमोहन सिंह जी ने कि पिछले जमाने में हम कहते थे कि बच्चे साइंस करो या कॉमर्स करो और कुछ सोचने की जरूरत ही नहीं है। हमसे यह भी कहा जाता था अच्छे मार्क्स पाओ तो साइंस करो, कम मार्क्स पाओ तो कॉमर्स करो, दोनों में एडमिशन नहीं मिले तो तुम निकम्मे हो, आर्ट्स करो। सॉरी टू से दैट, बट ये सच बात नहीं है। In today's world, getting an art seat is more difficult than getting a science seat. So please don't choose careers based on what marks you get. Choose careers based on what is your area of interest. And dear students and parents, जिंदगी में पहली बार 10वीं के बाद बच्चों से पूछा जाता है आपको क्या पढ़ना है? आप साइंस में दिलचस्पी रखते हो? Do you want to study commerce या फिर आर्ट्स क्षेत्र में पढ़ना चाहते हो क्या? And please note very carefully, the word is arts. It is not art. Art का मतलब है ड्राइंग, पेंटिंग, स्केचिंग। आर्ट्स एक पूरी क्षेत्र है और उसमें 2500 सब्जेक्ट्स हैं जो आप करियर बना सकते हो। So let me tell you a little more about each one of these. So after 10, you have to choose, should I study science, should I study commerce, or should I study arts? Now children who are at the age of 16 and 17 cannot really decide. Very often the parents decide. And that is why in all career seminars we say, please bring our mummy and papa, because the family decides what the child wants to study. This is very true of India. And therefore, what we usually tell children is, if you don't know what to study further, at least can you tell us, what is your dream in life? कोई सपना देखा है अपने लिए? कभी सोचा है मैं एस्ट्रोनॉट बनना चाहता हूँ? कभी सोचा है कि मुझे एक इंटीरियर डिजाइनर बनना है? या किसी लड़की ने कहा सर मुझे आर्किटेक्ट बनना है? ऐसे हालत में आपके इंटरेस्ट के मुताबिक हम आपको बता सकते हैं कि आप कौन से क्षेत्र में पढ़े। So generally we tell students that if you want to become a doctor, an engineer, an architect, a biotechnologist, or pharmacist, or a scientist, then please take up science. So very simple starting point. अगर आपको इनमें से कोई भी क्षेत्र में काबिलियत पाना है, आप साइंटिस्ट बनना चाहते हो, आप आर्किटेक्ट बनना चाहते हो, तो शुरुआत होती है साइंस क्षेत्र में पढ़ाई से, which means you have to do science in 11th and 12th standard. कुछ बच्चे ऐसे हैं who come and tell us कि बायोलॉजी और केमिस्ट्री तो हमारे दिमाग से जाता ही नहीं, हमें साइंस नहीं पढ़नी है, तो हम कॉमर्स पढ़ेंगे। लेकिन अक्सर ये सवाल मन में आता है, आप साइंस से भाग रहे हो, लेकिन कॉमर्स में आप अच्छा मार्क्स पाओगे, किसको पता? इसलिए हम दोबारा कहते हैं, साइंस से निकलना है अच्छी बात है, लेकिन सबसे पहले सोचो कॉमर्स करना है कि आर्ट्स करना है। अभी आप कॉमर्स करोगे तो आपको कौन से करियर ऑप्शंस मिलेंगे? कॉमर्स करने के बाद यू कैन बिकम अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, you can become a cost accountant, you can become a company secretary, you can become a management expert, or you can become a lawyer. तो आपने देखा, दोबारा मैंने 5 ऑप्शंस आपको बताए हैं। If you take the commerce route, do it to become a chartered accountant, CA, cost accountant, इसको CMA कहते हैं, company secretary, CS, law, वो तो आप जानते ही होंगे, लॉयर की प्रोफेशन जो होती है, या फिर मैनेजमेंट स्टडीज। इन 5 प्रोफेशंस में जाने के लिए मैं मानता हूं कॉमर्स का रूट एकदम सही है। सो इफ यू विश टू टेक अप एनी ऑफ दीज करियर्स, कॉमर्स इज अ वंडरफुल स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट। मैं दोबारा कहना चाहता हूं, पहले जमाने में कहते थे कि आर्ट्स सिर्फ निकम्मे करते हैं। सॉरी टू से, देयर आर मेनी वुमेन प्रेजेंट हियर। पहले ये भी कहते थे आर्ट्स लड़की लोग के लिए हैं क्योंकि उनको तो बस शादी ही करनी है। लेकिन हम जानते हैं आज औरतें आसमान छूने लगी हैं। दे हैव गॉन टू द मून एंड कम बैक, दे आर पार्ट ऑफ मिशन मार्स। मूवीज में देखते हैं, डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज में देखते हैं, दे आर पार्ट ऑफ एवरी प्रोफेशन। सो डोंट से आर्ट्स इज फॉर गर्ल्स, आर्ट्स इज फॉर एनीबडी हु इज इंटरेस्टेड। आर्ट क्षेत्र में कौन से स्पेशलाइजेशंस होते हैं? सबसे पहले जो काफी डिमांड में है, दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टडी ऑफ साइकोलॉजी। साइकोलॉजी का मतलब है स्टडी ह्यूमन बिहेवियर, लोगों का बर्ताव। कोई घमंडी है, कोई अच्छा इंसान है, कोई डरपोक है, कोई बिंदास है, ये सब में एक साइकोलॉजी होती है। ये पूरी क्षेत्र की जो पढ़ाई है, ये करने के बाद आपको कंपनीज में नौकरी मिल सकती है, आपको हर जगह प्रोफेशन में अच्छा एक मौका मिलता है आगे बढ़ने के लिए। दूसरा एक क्षेत्र जो आर्ट्स में काफी प्रभावित है वो है इकोनॉमिक्स। सरदार मनमोहन सिंह का नाम तो सबने सुना होगा, बहुत गर्व के साथ उनके बारे में हम सोचते हैं, क्योंकि एक चीज है उनके बारे में, वो सबसे फेमस वर्ल्ड में इकोनॉमिस्ट रहे हैं। मैं यहाँ पॉलिटिक्स की बात नहीं करने आया हूँ, लेकिन ये जरूर कहूंगा डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जैसे इकोनॉमिस्ट शायद इंडिया में आज तक कोई नहीं पैदा हुआ है। दैट इज द फील्ड ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स व्हिच इज एन एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द डोमेन ऑफ आर्ट्स। तीसरा एरिया जो आर्ट क्षेत्र में आता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड डिजाइन। इन डिजाइन टुडे देयर आर सो मेनी एरियाज: फैशन डिजाइन, इंटीरियर डिजाइन, इंटीरियर डेकोरेशन, प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन, एनिमेशन, ग्राफिक्स। आप देख रहे हैं मेरे पीछे मेरे इंस्टीट्यूट का नाम है। आप देख रहे हैं एक और तरफ जो हमारे मित्र हैं केपी सिंह, उनकी संस्था का एक लोगो दिख रहा है। ये सब डिजाइन कहलाता है। This entire area of animation, graphics and design is blossoming in India. So you can do your course in design if you take the art stream. Another stream which is very popular in the arts domain is hotel management and catering technology. आप हमेशा वेकेशन में जाते हैं, उस होटल में जो सारी सुविधाओं का देखरेख करते हैं वो है होटल मैनेजमेंट की टीम। जब से आप होटल में जाएं, आपकी रूम की सुरक्षा, आपके फैसिलिटीज, स्विमिंग पूल, खाना पीना, नाचना गाना, entertainment, this whole area is called hotel management. And of course, all of us today are crazy. We want Chinese food, we want Lebanese food, we want Punjabi food, we want South Indian food. This entire area is called catering technology. It's also called culinary sciences. काफी जगहों पे आपने मास्टर शेफ इंडिया का प्रोग्राम देखा होगा। ये सब जो आपको दिखाते हैं is part of this area called culinary sciences. तो आर्ट्स में मैं आपको बता रहा था साइकोलॉजी, इकोनॉमिक्स, इसके अलावा the entire area of design, and of course I mentioned to you that we are looking at this entire domain of hotel management and catering technology. Last but not the least, आर्ट्स में एक बहुत मशहूर एरिया है and that is mass media. उस जमाने में जब हम बच्चे थे तो सिर्फ 2 न्यूज़पेपर हुआ करते थे, दूरदर्शन में सिर्फ 2 चैनल हुआ करते थे, दूरदर्शन 1, दूरदर्शन 2। आप बच्चों को शायद इसके बारे में मालूम भी नहीं होगा। आज 500 चैनल हैं एंटरटेनमेंट के, उसके अलावा अमेजॉन प्राइम है, नेटफ्लिक्स है, हजारों न्यूज़पेपर हैं। इंटरनेट खोलो तो पूरा एडवर्टाइजमेंट होता है, व्हाट्सएप में ढेर सारे मैसेजेस आते रहते हैं। दिस एंटायर एरिया इज कॉल्ड मास मीडिया और मास कम्युनिकेशन. If you wish to take up this career after pursuing your arts, it's a wonderful career option that you can examine. Dear students, what I tried to tell you was some of the common options which are available to you today. I'm not talking of what we were students 30 years ago. I'm talking of a situation today. These are some wonderful course options which are available. I know many children may be aware of these, but it's important for you to understand that the route that I suggested is very, very important. जो बच्चे बॉम्बे में रहते हैं, आप जानते हो कि वेस्टर्न रेलवे में जाएं तो ट्रेन चर्च गेट से शुरू होती है, सेंट्रल रेलवे में जाएं तो वीटी। यू कैनॉट गो टू सेंट्रल रेलवे एंड से स्टार्ट फ्रॉम चर्च गेट, ये नहीं हो सकती है। So there are certain routes available to you for certain careers, is what I just explained to you. The second thing that I want to leave behind with you as a thought is, as students, please develop your overall personality. ये हम जरूर चाहते हैं कि आप अच्छी पढ़ाई करो, अच्छे मार्क्स पाओ, अच्छी जगह पे एडमिशन लो, लेकिन प्लीज रिमेंबर, as part of your growth, as you grow older, also develop your personality. पर्सनालिटी का मतलब है मैं दूसरों के सामने कैसे पेश आता हूँ, मेरी बोलने का तरीका कैसा है, मैं लोगों की बातें सुनता हूँ कि नहीं, चार लोगों के बीच में मैं अच्छी तरह पेश आता हूं कि नहीं? Am I able to cope up with stress myself? Am I able to succeed in teams? Do I have the courage to say sorry? ये सब चीजें कुल मिला के contributes to a great personality. आप ऐसा मत समझो कि सिर्फ किताब पढ़ने से, सिर्फ 96% पाने से आप अच्छे करियर नहीं पा सकते हो. आपको अपनी पर्सनालिटी भी डेवलप करनी है. The other part of personality which is important to a career in an organization is please learn English. मैं फिरंगी नहीं हूं, यकीन मानिए, मुझे अपने देश पे बहुत गर्व है. But when you talk about business, when you talk about corporates, when you talk about working in an office setup, the language of business is English. हाँ, चाइना में चाइनीज बोलते हैं, but they also speak English. उसी तरह every country has adopted English as the business which is common language, that is English. तो जो बच्चे पंजाबी मीडियम में पढ़ते हैं, हिंदी मीडियम में पढ़ते हैं, मराठी मीडियम में हो, कोई तकलीफ नहीं. When I studied initially, I was in Tamil medium, but now I am in English medium right through. So please develop English as a language. This is a very, very important skill. Last but not the least, आज की तारीख में कोविड की वजह से शायद 2.5 महीनों से स्कूल कॉलेजेस सब बंद हैं. मन में बहुत सारे विचार हैं कि कब शुरुआत होगी. जल्द हो जाएगी, जैसे हम पढ़ रहे हैं सारे अनाउंसमेंट्स. लेकिन एक चीज है जो मैं सभी लोगों से कहता हूं. उस जमाने में हिस्ट्री में हम पढ़ते थे दैट AD एंड BC यानी आफ्टर डेथ एंड बिफोर क्राइस्ट. मैं मानता हूं आज के जमाने में इट इज AC एंड BC यानी बिफोर कोविड एंड आफ्टर कोविड. ये जो पूरी हमारी पढ़ाई की तरकीब है वो चेंज होने वाली है. कभी सोचा था करियर सेमिनार जूम पे अटेंड करेंगे? दैट इज अ चेंज ऑफ साइन, चेंज ऑफ टाइम्स. एंड देयरफॉर प्लीज प्रैक्टिस एंड लर्न to be digitally literate. There are many websites which are giving you free education today, online, free. So please look up some of these. थोड़ा अपना स्किल डेवलप करो. मैं मानता हूं आप बच्चे थोड़ा घर में भी हेल्प कर रहे हो क्योंकि घर में आजकल सपोर्ट नहीं है, बट ये जरूर अपना ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन और डिजिटल लिटरेसी पे भी ध्यान देना, क्योंकि ऑल दिस पुट टुगेदर इज गोइंग टू हेल्प यू डेवलप अ ग्रेट करियर. इसी के साथ मैं अपने जो विचार मैं प्रकट करना चाहता था मैं कह चुका हूं. आपके क्वेश्चन आंसर्स का इंतजार रहेगा, बिकॉज आई बिलीव द मोर क्वेश्चंस यू आस्क वी कैन हेल्प यू क्लियर योर डाउट्स एंड क्लियर योर माइंड. Thank you very much for listening to me patiently, and I hand over to our colleague Shri Paramjit Singh ji to take it further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor Mani, for this enlightening talk. बहुत ही succinctly आपने बता दिया कौन कौन से कोर्सेज कर सकते हैं. जैसा कि इन्होंने बताया कि हमें नॉट ओनली अपनी लैंग्वेज भी पढ़नी हैगी बट इंग्लिश भी पढ़नी हैगी. पंजाबी भी जानते हैं ਅਸੀਂ, हिंदी भी जानते हैं, बट इंग्लिश दी लैंग्वेज इज वेरी नेसेसरी. एंड एजुकेशन ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ वैसे भी इट इज नॉट ओनली स्कूल ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੁੱਕਸ ਹੈਗੀ दैट इज नॉट एजुकेशन. ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ 'ਚ ਵਰਲਡ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਟੂ ਰੀਡ ਅ ਲੋਟ, we have to widen our horizons. ਖਾਲੀ we cannot restrict ourselves. ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਖਾਲੀ ਸਕੂਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਤਾਬਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਨ ਵਾਲਾ. ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਨਮੋਹਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਏਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਟੌਪ ਕਰਨ, ਵੱਖਰੀ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਫੀਲਡਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣ, ਟੌਪ ਪੋਜੀਸ਼ਨਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚਣ. ਤੇ ਦੈਟ ਕੈਨ ਓਨਲੀ ਬੀ ਪੋਸੀਬਲ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਆਰ ਏਬਲ ਟੂ ਡੂ lot of things like acquire new skills. ਹੁਣ ਜੈਸੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਫੈਸਰ ਮਨੀ also went घर बैठे हैं तो we can learn lot of things. We can go on the net. आजकल things like coding, artificial intelligence, so soft skills, ऐसा बहुत जरूरत है कि we have to life skills. We have to learn all these things. And EduSec and ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦੂਜਾ NGO ਹੈਗਾ ਧਰਮ ਭਾਰਤੀ ਮਿਸ਼ਨ, ਸਾਡੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ we are offering all these computer courses. In Bombay at least we are offering all these courses almost free of charge या very concessional rates. ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਰਾ ਸਕਦੇ. ਤੇ ਦੂਜਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਕ ਲਾਇਬ੍ਰੇਰੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ which is in Chembur, where for any class, for any subject, any book is required that is available. ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਫੀਲਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕਿਤਾਬ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਹੈਗਾ, you can come and join there, you can study there ਤੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਉਠਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ. Now we'll move on to our next speaker, Sardar KP Singh ji. KP Singh is the founder and CEO of the Institute of Management and Foreign Studies. It is India's first and largest test preparatory center for studies abroad. He serves as the head counselor and the chief verbal faculty at IMFS and is the visionary responsible for the growth of this company. Across his 23 years long journey with IMFS, Mr. Singh has helped 50,000 students to attain their dreams, and in doing so has won awards for excellence in education for 3 consecutive years. He is a member of management committees of colleges in Mumbai and appears on several talk shows on studies abroad on channels such as CNBC. He has addressed hundreds of seminars in colleges and schools across India and has been recognized as the pioneer of test preparation for foreign education in India. His regular contribution and write columns for Times of India, Hindustan Times, Telangana Today, etc., relating to foreign study. He addresses seminars to encourage students for further studies and has recently presented a TED Talk on and led the IMFS team to the top 7 education companies in the world. We welcome KPG, and over to you now for your talk.
Thank you very much, Paramjit Virji. It's such a pleasure to be with everybody today. First of all, it's always going to be difficult to be the second speaker after Professor R.S.S. Pani. Extremely humble, very knowledgeable human being. And I'm privileged to call you a friend. And to speak after you is always going to be very challenging. And of course, coming after me immediately is Colonel Mohinder Pal Singh. And so I'm sure everybody is excited to listen to him as well. In fact, I saw a purview of the questions, and a lot of them pertain with studies, or rather joining the Indian Army or the Indian Armed Forces. So I'm somewhere in the middle as a sandwich. So I want to talk to you about going beyond the 10th, 12th, and going for higher studies. So because we are going to talk about studies at a higher level, let's begin at a 50-year back in history. So 50 years ago, I remember, and I'm sure a lot of panelists also will remember, that we have traveled in trains that were driven by steam power. We have gone across cycle rickshaws pulled by human beings, by tongas, by horses. And in the last 3 to 4 years that I've traveled across the world, I've also been very happy to go on Segway rides powered by battery powered or drive in cars that are electric powered. So what I have witnessed in my life of 54 years has been tremendous change. And what COVID-19 has done is going to promise even more change. And therefore, those of you who are sitting snug in the warmth of your home saying that I have finished my 10th or 12th and thereafter I'll do my undergraduation and life is set for me, well, we are all in for a rude awakening of what's going to happen. In the next 10 years, it's my assumption, based on the extensive reading that I have done, is careers we see today will not exist. Think of this, that 15 years ago, nobody ever talked about the things that Paramjit Virji just spoke about. Who spoke about artificial intelligence or machine learning? They were non-existent words. Just 20 years ago, they were not there. And obviously, therefore, if in the last 20 years, you've seen tremendous change, what you as a student has to do is to plan for even further change. And therefore, let's have a look at what's going to happen in the world in the next few years. So over the next 10 minutes or thereabouts, you and I will talk about why one should go abroad and study. First reason is a lot of jobs are going to see an upheaval or a change. You're going to see some jobs disappear, and those jobs that will disappear will mostly be those that are rudimentary, that are very basic. They are in the service sector. They are going to disappear. And what you see today, the jobs that exist, well, they will be there, obviously, but they will be there with changes. But in the next 20, 25 years, what I foresee is jobs in a few sectors shall be of paramount importance. Number one, obviously from the IT or the data analytics domain. That's going to do really well. Another is from the healthcare sector, whether it is to do with health informatics or health analytics or healthcare in the form of occupational therapists or physical therapists or nursing will do really well. And the third, of course, is going to be from the sustainability part. So developing newer forms of energy or sustainability engineering or re-engineering of what is happening today. And then logistics and supply chain management and operation research. All of these are going to see a resurgence. In fact, I dare say that every student today who knows how to read the alphabet A, B, C, D, your alphabet is going to change into words like C and C++ and R and Python. That's going to be the new alphabet of the future generations. And the tragedy is that as a nation, we in India have largely dealt with education as a kind of a stepson or a stepbrother or a stepsister. Of the total GDP, and you must know that India ranks 7th in the world, we have approximately $2.9 trillion in our GDP, and we spend close to 3% of that, and that's a government statistic. And you and I both know when governments say 3%, the reality may be somewhere else. So when you spend just 3%, invariably the education system, therefore, is not shining at its best. Please look at a comparator. That the one country that is leading the pack is Cuba, which is spending close to 12% on its GDP. Any industrialized nation will spend approximately 5 to 6% at the very least of its GDP on education. And no wonder, therefore, we rank at a very miserly 149 out of 197 countries in terms of spend or rankings of quality of education. And that is the primary reason why approximately 4 lakh students get out of India and go abroad and study. Of course, prime destination for the last couple of years has been Canada. But before Canada burst onto the international scene, the one country that dominated the market for years and years was the United States of America. And approximately $8 billion are spent by students in fees in these various countries. And at the top of the list, of course, I told you is Canada, then there is United States, then there is United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand. All countries are picking up numbers from students from India. So how do you, as an aspiring kid, get there? Please understand, don't go about like headless chickens trying to give every kind of an exam. First of all, identify which is the ideal country for you to go to. And this has to be based on the program you choose. So if it is going to be IT or it's going to be computer science, go anywhere on earth, there is a career waiting. But if there are specific areas of targeted interest, say mechanical engineering, then you must look at options not only in America, but also probably in Germany, which is leading in automotives, or Australia, which is the leading country in mining, or the leading country in marine engineering. So pick the right country to go to, and thereafter do the courses or give the entrance tests that are required to enter these countries. As a thumb rule, if you're looking at going to the United States of America, you have to broadly give 2 exams. One, either the SAT or the ACT, and number 2, now that's the first test is to prove you have the intellectual capacity to excel in those universities. And the second test that you'll have to give, and this is going to be common for all countries across the globe, and the second test is either the TOEFL or the IELTS or the PTE or a newly introduced Duolingo exam. All of these exams, you can give any one of them. They are there to test your capabilities in understanding the English language, and that is very important. Please understand that as far as Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Singapore, most countries on earth are concerned, in these countries, you can get into university with a good score in just the English testing exams. But to get into a great university in America, you also have to give the SAT or the ACT. And what are these exams? Well, SAT is a scholastic aptitude test. It is scored out of 1,600 points. You're able to get 1,200 and higher, you can get into a university higher rank than IIT Mumbai. And where does IIT Mumbai stand in the world? Well, there are various rankings available. QS, that's from Australia, It's the most generous ranking for IITs, and it says that IIT Bombay stands at around 152nd in the world. Well, I can put you in a university in the top 100 in the world with a 1200 on the SAT. So either you give the SAT or the ACT. In addition to that, you also have to prove your prowess in English, and therefore you give either the TOEFL or the IELTS. Now, TOEFL is scored out of 120 points. You get a score of 90 to 100 and higher. Well, universities at the top 100 ranks in the world will beckon you. They're going to test in TOEFL 4 areas of your ability. That is reading, listening, speaking, and writing. And guess what? These are precisely the same areas that get tested in the IELTS as well. But the scoring pattern differs. IELTS is out of a band of 9. You get a band of 7, 7.5 and higher. And lo and behold, you can go to the top ranked universities in Canada, United Kingdom, across most of Europe, or down under in Australia and New Zealand as well. Give these exams, they have the power to change your life. And please remember that in addition to your desire to go and study, I'm sure at the back of your mind, you also want to not only study, but also work for a few years before you return to India, if you return to India. So all these countries follow a very varied pattern of allowing you to stay back and work. America, for example, you go to study on an F1, like the Formula Racing F1 visa. And on the F1, after you finish your undergraduate degree, you can stay for up to 3 years on the optional practical training, which is better known as OPT. But this is for students going for a STEM degree. And what is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. If you go for a non-STEM degree, which could be architecture or business or things like that, then you're allowed to stay only for 1 year, all of this on the student visa. Finish the program, stay and work for 3 or maybe 1 year, depending on the degree. And what happens after you finish these 3 years? Well, then you have to migrate onto the other visa, which is called the work visa, which is H1. H1, you're allowed to stay for up to 6 years. And thereafter, you have to file for the green card, which could take some time. Australia, on the other hand, once you finish your 4-year degree, you're allowed to stay for 2 to 3 years, depending on the university. If you go to a regional university, you can stay up to 3 years. Otherwise, Australia allows you to stay for 2 years once you finish your program and then file for PR, which I think everybody understands is the permanent residency. And more or less the same system is followed by United Kingdom, which also allows you to stay for 2 years and then file for a PR. Of course, right now, at the moment, there's some gray area whether PR will be allowed in UK or not. So as of today, you can stay for 2 years and work. But Canada and New Zealand both allow you to stay back for 3 years and thereafter file for the PR. So once I go abroad and I start working, what is the kind of income I should get? Well, in as far as the United States is concerned, which pays the highest amount of salaries, by the way, in the world, I should get on an average between $60,000 to $140,000, depends on the program. At the lower end, at $60,000, I probably am a biologist, or I'm working as a civil engineer, or I'm working as an architect. And at $140,000, that's the upper end, I probably am a pharmacist, or I am probably an IT or a computer science engineer. So those are the kind of average salaries you should earn. When I look at countries like, say, those in Europe, you should start off at around 25 to maybe 30,000 euros a year. And that is not loose change. That's a lot of money. And therefore, to earn that kind of money, you got to start getting your act right. So what's your next step? Number one, you should have already got a high percentage in the 10th standard. Now, please, if you're in the 11th grade, open your ears and let me talk to you heart to heart. Do not let your guard down. In the 11th, we want you to secure at least a 70%. Then, of course, when you enter into the 12th, your mom and dad and every Tom, Dick, and Harry around you is going to tell you, this is the year. Well, be that as it may, I am more concerned with your 11th standard marks. 10th, you've done well. 11th, do well. And then sit down with us or sit down with your counselor and start creating a short list of universities. Where do you apply? Which country is ideal for me? Which program is ideal for me? Get that counseling done. And I think Professor Mani spoke at length about all these things, and you should listen to him. So get your career sorted, and then we will apply to the right and apt universities for you. But please understand that your admissions are not basically focused only on your academics. They go beyond your academics into your extra and co-curricular activities as well. So while you're in school or you're in high school, ensure if there is a competition, if there is some festival, if there is a function, you take part in those. Organize MUNs, Model United Nations, take part in those events. I hope while you were in school, you did also a lot of these math and science Olympiads. All of this will help build your profile. Learn languages. They are going to help you tremendously in the years to come. So if I were you, I would get on learning French, Spanish, German, Mandarin if you can, because these languages will hold the key to your success in the next 5 to 10 years. So learn languages, build your profile. Two things will define your success. A, of course, is your academics, your marks, how well you do in college. But beyond that, what also is required is your soft skills. So please don't let go of your soft skills, build those as well. Build your profile, get into a great university, and start planning way in advance. You enter grade 11. Number one, start preparing for the SAT or the ACT if you're looking at America. And also start preparing for your TOEFL and IELTS and get your application package sorted by the time you're in the 12th standard. And this is pretty amazing. When you're in the 12th grade, roughly around October or November, you will apply to universities. You apply roughly 8 to 9 months prior to your date of entry in the university. And when do you enter universities abroad? Generally speaking, somewhere around August or September. So you got to therefore ensure that you send the applications at least 9 to 10 months in advance, somewhere in October, November of the previous year. So when you're in the 12th, send out your applications and you'll get your admits roughly by March while you're in the 12th grade. And this is pretty amazing. That means without your 12th standard scores, we can get you admission into a bachelor's or an undergrad degree, which means your admission was based on your 11th standard marks. And that is why I wanted, my vested interest was you do well in the 11th grade as well. 10th, obviously you did well, and 12th, I'm sure you will do well. So for your admission, ensure everything is sorted at least 10 months in advance. Of course, these are our branches across India. We are based primarily out of Mumbai. Come and meet us. You can send me an email. And of course, we'll be glad to speak with you and sort out your issues of going abroad. Please understand, your agenda in life has to be to excel. Do not be just another kid. You have to be somebody who's special. Because today, to be a success, you have to find within your tools within yourself. These tools for success are not going to manifest from outside. And what a good education can do for you is to help you to be prepared to deal with the realities that are brought about by changed circumstances in the last few months. What a great education will also do is to empower you to go beyond your inherent limitations and will further ensure that you become a force that shall bring in the changes that you desire to see in this world. And I hope that in this process of your growing up, we are a part of each dream that you're able to fulfill and fructify. Please understand that as an individual, and this is going to be my mantra for you, as an individual, you're more relevant than the college you went to and the grades you achieved. It's extremely important you live your life and celebrate your existence without being bound by statistics. Enjoy your journey. Don't let time shape what you will be. And I fervently hope that we are able to work together and empower you to fly to a country of your choice. Thank you very much.
ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਜ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦਾ ਮਕਸਦ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਸਕੀਏ ਕਿ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੈਗੇ, ਬਾਹਰ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਐਂਡ ਬੇਸਿਕਲੀ ਦ ਥਰਡ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ बताना जा रहे हैं कि our third speaker today is actually a last minute addition. Sikhs have traditionally been in the armed forces, and at one time we were a sizable number in the army, in the armed forces. However, due to certain policies and some reasons, the percentage of Sikhs is going down in the armed forces. And one of the main reasons is lack of awareness about the careers in the armed forces. So when we announced this webinar, my dear friend from Pune, Major T.S. Bevely, Tejwan Singh Bevely, he suggested that we should also include a session about careers in the armed forces. He and Colonel Alexander, also from Pune, then put me in touch with Colonel Mahendrapal Singh Ji, who, like both these gentlemen, had an excellent career in the army, and is now running a training academy to prepare our youth for careers in the Army, Navy, and Air Force. Colonel Mahendrapal Singh was commissioned in the 3rd Maha Regiment in December 1989. In his army career of 30 years, he has participated in various combat operations with his battalion and with RR battalion. He has led many operations in combat zone. He has qualified the most difficult training courses of the Indian Army, the Commando course from Infantry School, Belgavi, and the Winter Warfare course at High Altitude Warfare School, Gulmarg. He has been in the training even in the Army. He has been GTO in Allahabad for 3 years and Senior GTO for another 3 years. During his SSB tenure, he has assessed over 13,000 candidates in stage 1 and over 3,000 candidates in stage 2 for the post of officers. He has also been an instructor in military tactics wing in the Infantry School, Belgavi, and he has been the recipient of the Chief of Army Staff Commendation for his commendable work in the services. He has published a lot of self-help books in team building and keeps on writing various newspapers and journals, articles relating to defense forces. Colonel Mahendra took voluntary retirement in June 2018 and is presently founder and director of an Academy of Military Aptitude and Skills at Greater Noida, where he passionately mentors defense service aspirants from across India. He is also the director at EGRO Foundation, which is a think tank, where he contributes on the issues of geopolitics, national security, and defense strategy. Thank you, Colonel Mahendra Singh, for accepting our request and agreeing to speak to our children at such a short notice. And a big thanks to Major Bevely and Colonel Alexander. Over to you, sir.
Sat Sri Akal and Jai Hind to all our viewers. And Sir Paramjit sir, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to communicate to a very wide range of children. I think most of them are Sikhs, what I can see from the names. And also thanks to the Dadar management who are along with you doing this yeoman service to the society. Now, the first two speakers have spoken so well. I've really been overwhelmed listening to their talk. And my talk is going to be very much limited to the careers in India, very much in India, and that to careers limited to the defense forces. So like Paramjit sir, you mentioned, traditionally, Sikhs have been a very important part of the defense forces. And even now they are, right? So there is no doubt that Sikhs, even today, we are playing a very important role in the Indian Army, in the Navy, and in the Air Force. But only thing is, a lot of students over a period of time, I think they have made their choices of for greener pastures or for I would say cozier jobs, right? Easier jobs, sitting in a very comfortable jobs like that. And most of the students, they find that army career is a very tough career, because not only you have to go and stay away from your families, but at times you're posted to little tough areas, right? And at times even the parents are not keen because the families have become smaller and they're not keen to send the children away for long durations. So having said that, I have had a very nice career. I am a second generation officer. My father also served in the armed forces, and I was studying in Bombay in my final year in my St. Xavier's College, Bombay, when I was studying. In fact, before this, I was telling you that nobody ever, very, very few people out for a career in armed forces from Mumbai. But I was quite die-hard. So I had a placement from my college in my final year as management training in Oberoi Hotels. So they came and picked up our final year students, and they did a 5-6 range of interviews. And in the final interview, this vice president, All India vice president, he was doing this final interview in Oberoi Towers in Mumbai on that Marine Drive. And I was a young boy of 20 years, 19 and a half or 20. He asked me, what if I don't take you? So I was sitting like, sir, how you will not take me? I've done so well in all your interviews, right? So he says, no, just assume that if I don't take you, what are you going to do in life? I said, sir, I can't even assume, because I have done all your tests in the best of my ability, and I think I'm going to make it. And you are going to select me. So he was quite aghast. He said, no, suppose there is some reason or there's no vacancy or something. I said, you don't take me. I'm going to join the Indian Army. I've already passed the written, and I'm going to crack the interview with the same confidence which I'm doing now here. And then he asked me how I have done in my written exam and all that, and I told him I've already qualified that. They took me off. They took me on, and of course, after about 1 month, I had my interview for IMA Dehradun, and I qualified there. And I did not join the Oberoi Hotels as management training. I decided to join Indian Military Academy Dehradun, and that's how I got commissioned. And this interview with Oberoi Towers at Oberoi Towers was in 1988, and I joined. This was in March 1988, and I joined IMA in July 1988, and I was commissioned in infantry, the fighting arm, the furthermost arm of the Indian Army, and I was commissioned in 3rd Battalion of the Maha Regiment, where I have put in about 30 years of service. And after doing all the mandatory things which a young officer and a middle age officer does, a lot of operations and other things, I took voluntary retirement in 2018. No other reason, out of satisfaction and out of settling down in one place. So today I'm going to talk about what are the careers, 10th and after 12th, what can you do? And after graduation, what can you do? Fantastic career opportunities await you in all the 3 services. And Army is a way of life. I visited USA in 2010, and I was there for 1 month in Washington. And when I returned back, somebody asked me, how did you find the city? I said, it is just like our cantonment areas. Because I have been born and brought up in cantonment areas, neat, clean, good environment, clean air. I said, it is just like that. So I didn't feel a real change that I'm, sitting in an advanced country, a highly advanced country, because cantonment life was a very different life. Army life, Defense Forces life is a very different life. So let me take you through a small slideshow, which will give you some insight, because you are now at a time when you have to make career options. Of course, my 2 speakers have also given you fantastic career options in different fields of arts and also studying abroad. But I'm going to talk of right here in front of you, right, a career option in which you are going to be proud throughout your life. So let's go over these small slides and see how you like these options. So it's going to be a small talk about 10 minutes, and I'm going to quickly take you through these slides.
The Indian Army is looking for a few good men. For the best and the brightest amongst you, for men and women with intellect, idealism, and courage. Men and women who can lead and inspire. Men and women who are willing to serve their lives protecting our nation. Think about it. It's a challenge that'll change your life forever. And that's a soldier's word.
you saw, slithering from helicopter and all, I have done all that as part of the commando training. As part of the commando training, Sara asi kita as a young officer. So let's see, okay, why should the youth, why should you people join the army? What is the life in army? What are the pay and perks and other service benefits? Thank you very much for some students who are encircling things for me. That shows that how interested you are in this whole presentation. So let's hear this young officer.
Let me tell you why I joined the army. The aura of the uniform? Yes. For the adventure, thrills, and excitement? Yes. But most of all, because the army is one place where professional growth takes place at every step. In no other profession will you get such phenomenal opportunities to learn, to constantly upgrade your professional skills and evolve as an officer and a gentleman. The Indian Army runs
building at Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, and this is where I also passed out from, standing like this 30 years back. Then we have an officer and a gentleman. That's what we all call the officers. You know, we are the ones who are leaders, who are leading the men. As officers, a true leader which prepares, trains, and leads his men into the battle. So I'm reminded of one story. This was the time when I was posted at Firozpur, and you know this Op Parakram started. Jab Parliament attack hoya si. That's the time it started, and my brigade commander was visiting us. We had all mobilized to the border, and we were sitting face to face with the enemy, and the war was quite imminent, and all preparation were there. Nobody knew that when the war could be declared, because the whole army from both the sides had mobilized. And my commander visited, was a brigadier, and I was a major, and he visited me, and he said, "How are your plans ready? If the war breaks out, do you know what you're going to do, where you're going to attack?" I said, "Yes, sir, I know." He says, "You know that you're going to cross a minefield." Okay, mines ਲਾਈਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੰਪਨੀ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਰਾਤੀ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੈਜੁਅਲਟੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਕਾਫੀ ਲੋਕ ਉੱਡ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ? I said, "Sir, I have planned everything. We have planned everything. So we are not going to be scared of crossing the minefield." He says, "How are you so confident?" I said, "Sir, because if I am leading, then people will, my jawans will follow me." So at times you have to take the first step. Of course, the war never broke out and we never had to go into that minefield, but you have to plan, because if the death is imminent in front of you, a true leader has to lead from the front. You can't show that you are scared as a leader. So the real sense of leading, a real sense of leadership qualities develop in you when you join the armed forces and you enjoy it. So here you'll see some adventure activities which take place as part of, this is a passing out parade of National Defence Academy, जो 12वीं तो बाद बच्चे join कर सकते हैं. उनकी training की एक video है. You can see this small clip. This is all part of the training at National Defence Academy, Kadalwasla, near Pune. Games, sports, adventure activities, as well as combat activities, all are part of the training. So in the peacetime, when there's no war, we do a lot of training. We also do environment protection activities and social activities to help the society.
Can completely rely on the Army for adding on to your educational qualifications. The Indian Army emblem can place you with the finest engineering institutions for post-graduation in India and abroad, including the IITs and even a career into research and development. In fact, in the Indian Army, you'll never stop learning. Where else can you get such phenomenal opportunities to constantly fine-tune and upgrade your skills? To lay your hands on the latest technological development. Every year, thousands aspire to be a part of all this, but only a handful get through.
Sorry to disturb you.
Career opportunities go. I can also share with you, we also get...
Could you
Sorry?
disable the annotation of the attendees because people are drawing lines across the screen? I apologize.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's okay. It doesn't bother me. Don't worry. Let them play around. It's okay. Right. So I just want to tell you that I entered armed forces as a plain graduate. Of course, a science graduate, though arts and commerce also are welcome. Thereafter, Army gave me opportunity to do my post-graduation full-time on study leave, salary paid for 2 years. After that, once I finished that, I got my gold medal in the masters full-time from a university, Allahabad University. I also got an opportunity to pursue my PhD. And took me 4 years. Of course, that was while on duty. I did not get any leave, but I was allowed to do my higher studies and grow with it, professional growth. So that is the kind of phenomenal opportunities you are getting to improve yourself, to augment your caliber. Now, these are the adventure activities. This is a young major who is doing some activities, and other than that, all these teams which you see here, mountaineering, car, all Army has got all teams and a lot of opportunities for people who love adventure. These are the ranks. I'm only showing Army ranks, otherwise Navy, Air Force, similar ranks, structures are available. You can all see it's a matter of pride. It comes on your shoulders when you rise in life. Now, coming to the salary, a lot of people think that armed forces do not offer good salary. I can share with you that at the entry level as an officer, you are getting anything to the tune of 70 to 80,000, almost a lakh rupees in your hand, especially if you're posted in the field areas where there are a lot of allowances, extra allowances which you get. And at what age? I was commissioned at 22 years. If you can come up to the age of 25 years, you can join. I'll show you the methods. So these are at the officer level. At a lower level, in case you are joining at a soldier level, the salary could be anything up to about 35 to 40,000 rupees a month at the beginning. That means the moment you finish your training, which is about 8 to 9 months as the soldiers are concerned. In case of officers, if you're joining after 12th, that's if you're joining NDA, then the training is 4 years, and if you're joining after graduation, it is 1.5 years. So how to join the armed forces? Let's have a look. These are the soldiers, airman, sailor level. These are after mostly class 10th and class 12th. In case you're joining as soldier technical, then after 12th. In case you're joining soldier GD, then after 10th also you can join. And the age is 17.5 to 21. More details on all these entries, everything is nowadays online. There's a website, you can all note down the website address, www.joinindianarmy.nic.in, www.joinindianarmy.nic.in, and joinindiannavy.nic.in, joinindianairforce.nic.in. So go there, everything is online, and you can fill the forms, and there's absolutely no paperwork involved. So all these things you can check. Now I'm going to talk in little more detail about the officer rank. And of course, these are the basic eligibility. And the last line should excite everyone, a will to become an achiever. Officer rank, we are having various schemes at 10+2 level. That is the first level on which you can join. That is only for, so far, only for boys. So I'm seeing a lot of girls also here on the show, on this webinar. Girls can join after graduation, and there are a large number of girls who are coming and joining. And in fact, in my own institute, in the last year, we have had 2 girls who have cleared for Air Force. One of them also passed the pilot aptitude test, right? Just waiting for their merit list, and if they're through, they will be joining, right? As far as 10+2 level is concerned, one is the famous National Defense Academy, NDA, which you can appear while you're doing your class 12th. So that's a very important point to note. While you're studying in class 12th, in the NDA 2 paper, there are 2 papers held every year for NDA, NDA 1 in the month of April and NDA 2 in the month of October, November. So NDA 2, you can sit for the written exam, and the moment you finish your 12th, the results are out, you get the call for an interview, and by the time you are done with your class 12 results in June or July, the NDA opens up in the month of July, and if you have cleared all the exams, you are straight away called. Other way is to go for the engineering level after class 12. Now there's a special entry called as technical entry scheme, in which you have PCM. If you have PCM in your class 12th, and you have above 80% in best of 4, you can apply, and you don't have any written exams for that. Only you are called for the interview, and the interview procedure is slightly lengthy. It's a 5-day procedure where you go and stay in the Army campus. That's called the SSB, Services Selection Board interview, and that is there at various places. All the 3 Army, Navy and Air Force, they've got their selection center boards, and you have to go stay there, and for 5 days they will have the various tests. I will touch upon that. So 10+2 level students without PCM, you can try for NDA if you are commerce. But let me tell you, only thing for the NDA written exam, there are 3 papers: maths, English and general studies. So for those who do not have maths in 11th and 12th, I have found those students having slight bit of difficulty, because maths in the NDA exam comes of 11th and 12th level. So in that case, you have to prepare maths on your own. So please do that. English is of quite a high level. So like my previous speakers also mentioned, English is the global language today. Apart from your own language, you must study English well, and that also help you in your NDA exam. Now coming to graduate level, we have permanent commission, we have short service commission, that is for 15 years. We have technical commission. After doing your BTech, you can apply and become officers. And also we have women's special entry scheme. In this women's special entry schemes for girls, both options of joining as technical entry as well as non-technical entry are there. Only thing is the seats for girls are slightly less, because so far the girls are getting commissioned in the services part of the armed forces, and they are not, as of now, not being taken in the infantry and the main arms like infantry, RT and armored. They are the fighting arms. So in arms they are coming. So the seats, of course, you can compete for seats also. So these are the come out in the officer level every year. If we talk only of Army, another about 1 to 1,500 for Navy and Air Force. So a sizable number of vacancies are available for all kind of students. So you can have a look, and all this data which I'm showing you here is also available on joinindianarmy.nic.in and similar websites or official websites for Navy and Air Force. These are some other types of entries. After class 12, there's a technical entry scheme, 90 seats twice a year. And for short service commission, we have 170 seats, 75 seats. It's likely to go up to about 200 plus seats. Then we have a special entry for lawyers, LLBs. Then we have women non-technical and women technical entries. So both of them are short service commission, right? So n number of seats. If you see, the age bracket is also quite wide, and 19 to 25 years. In case of women, it is 27 years, right? So all this is available to our boys and girls, and you must take it as a good career choice. NDA Khadak Wasla, a lot of students, I think of 10th and 12th level students, you can think of applying. In fact, if you are studying 12th, the dates are still open. 6th July is the last date to apply for the exam, which is going to be held on 6th September, the present batch. So you can immediately go ahead and apply. These are again another site of engineer entries, joining options, technical entries, where all of you are studying in colleges, engineering colleges, can take up these options and join the Indian Army. So you see the kind of options available to you across the board, across the year. These options are available, right? So after what happens, after you give the written or when you apply for technical interviews, you are called for that 5-day testing, which is called SSB. 5-day interview on that. काफी detailed interview on that. Almost as a testing, almost 20 to 25 घंटे दी testing है. In the 5 days, you stay on the campus of the selection centers. You are provided food, lodging, everything free. And we have 3 types of tests here. Interview, that is personal interview with a senior officer, a group testing, we are tested in groups, and psychological testing. So these are the 3 methods which require a lot of detailed preparation. In fact, at AMAS training, which is my institute, we are specializing in training the students for all this. And in the last about 1.5 years, we have had about 53 students who have join the training academies after being trained from us, after passing the exam. So these are the tests, part of the group testing technique. Some of you, I'm sure, would have already appearing or must be knowing about it. So today's just introductory class. So Paramjit sir told me not to go into too much detail. So I'll just touch upon it, basically telling you that these are the tests which you need to prepare, right? And each test in itself requires some deliberation and a constant preparation. And these are the main training academies of the Army. Similarly, Air Force and Navy have also got their training academy. Somebody is very keen, who's drawing circle there, it's okay. That just shows your keenness in joining the Defense Forces. So notifications will come all over. Earlier they used to come in all these major newspapers. Nowadays, everything has gone online. So you just have to click to one website and all these notifications will be there. In fact, if you register yourself, you will find they will probably send you SMS also, in case you need any information. And in case you personally need any guidance, feel free to call me. This is my WhatsApp number. You can send me a message, right? And I will respond to that in case there's any query, or you can see our website. It is full of all the information which you probably need, right? So I would not take more time. I think I have overshot my time by about 5 minutes. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me this time. And in case you have anyone has got any questions, I'll feel honored to answer your questions. And last thing I was going to tell you is, please take it a serious look, as Defense Forces need you. We need courageous young men and women who are bright, who are intelligent, and who are ready to serve for the nation. So let's hope some of you get motivated and take it as one of the career choices. Thank you very much, sir. And once again, Sat Sri Akal and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. That was very insightful and very exciting to see all those adventures. We'll अपने सारे जड़े बच्चे देख रहे हैं, we'll like to inform that EduSec will also help in preparation for entry of those of you who are interested. जोड़े interested है बच्चे जान वास्ते इन्हां दी training academy नोएडा विच हैगी है, but साडा जोड़े बॉम्बे दे नाल लगे ते पुणे भी facility हैगी है. अगर जोड़े बच्चे भी जाना चाहते हैं आर्मी, ते we will help them to prepare. तैयारी करा के उन्होंने इस आर्मी नेवी एयरफोर्स करा देंगे. A lot of questions have come, but before that I'll just 2 minutes which I'll just tell you what are the scholarships available for 6 students so that we can apply and take advantage of those scholarships. I'll just share my screen immediately. So So first is by Maharashtra Minority Development. Maharashtra government is a minority department. They give scholarships after 12th for these two. The arts, commerce, science, law wale stream hai. Unhanu 5,000 rupees per annum. मतलब 3 साल का कोर्स है, हर साल 5,000 रुपए मिलेगा. अगर 4 साल का कोर्स है, 4 साल, 5 साल का कोर्स है तो 5 years. And अगर if you are doing engineering, MBA or pharmacy, then it is 25,000 rupees per annum or actual tuition fees, whichever is less. उसकी condition सिर्फ है कि domicile होना चाहिए महाराष्ट्र में, domicile status 8 years stay होना चाहिए, और SSC है तो मतलब महाराष्ट्र तो we should have done the SSC from Maharashtra. These are the 2 conditions. And annual income of the parents, family income should be not less more than 8 lakhs. So we can all appear. जड़े बच्चे भी इधर सबसे बड़ी requirement है, there is no percentage requirement. Even if you are 40%, 50% pass होना चाहिए basically, any percentage we can apply this. Condition only है कि 2,000 scholarships are given every year. So जिस तरह 10th the exam या 12th the result जिस तरह आना, immediately we have to apply, so that if we apply early we can get the scholarship. दूसरा है कि अगले साल फर्स्ट ईयर मान लो मिल गया 5,000, नेक्स्ट ईयर अगर अप्लाई करना है, अगेन यू हैव टू पास एंड अगेन अप्लाई फॉर द नेक्स्ट ईयर फॉर कंटिन्यूएशन. सो दिस इज द महाराष्ट्र गवर्नमेंट स्कॉलरशिप्स. सिमिलरली सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट दी भी स्कीम है माइनॉरिटी डिपार्टमेंट दी, which is at all the 3 levels. It is pre-metric also from class 6 to 10th. It is 5,000 rupees or whatever तो actual tuition fee है. उधर condition है कि 50% marks होने चाहिए and parental income should be less than 2 lakhs, up to 2 lakhs. Similarly, for post-matric for 11th and 12th, it is 7,000 rupees per annum. And again, same conditions are there. And if you're doing technical and vocational course, then it is 10,000 rupees per annum. अगर इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे इंजीनियरिंग CA CS law ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ we get 20,000 rupees per annum or whichever is less, and apart from that we get maintenance allowance 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees according to day scholar या ਜਿਹੜਾ hostel ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਸ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ. And there are 85 listed institutes है, अगर उससे we do the courses from there, then 100% fees is paid by the government. That list is available on the website, or you can approach us to find more details about this. Then there are for studying abroad, जिस तरह KP Singh साहब ने दस्या कि बाहर पढ़ना जा सकते, तो those of us who want to go abroad, there are interest subsidy scheme कि जिस तरह तुसी अगर लोन लेंदे हो बाहर जाने वास्ते, the interest for the period you are studying as well as 1 and 2 years तक जेड़ा interest हैगा that will be paid by the government, and you have to pay the installment and interest only after you start earning. This is a very good facility. दो जेड़ा बाहर जाना चाहते हैं उन्होंने इस स्कीम में लोन दी इंटरेस्ट नहीं भरना पड़ेगा 4 तो 5 साल तक, या मास्टर्स डिग्री है तो 2 साल तक या 1 साल तक, whatever उन्होंने नहीं करना पड़ेगा. Then for PhD students and MPhil students, there is another scholarship called Maulana Azad scholarship. That also details are available. You can always contact us for details. Then we have some EduSIC scholarship, जो साड़ी अपनी scholarship है. ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ any 10th ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਾਂ 12th ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ all over India ਜਿਹੜੇ rank ਲੈਂਦੇ ਨੇ, first, second and third rank all over India, they get a scholarship of 51,000 rupees, one time scholarship. They have to be toppers in the first 3 in any board, चाहे state board है, ICSE board है, CBSE board है. Similarly, there are states level ਤੇ top ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ zone level, CBSE ਦੇ zones ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, there are zone level ਤੇ top ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ 10th and 11th, they get a scholarship of 31,000 rupees. Then apart from that, we had tie up with certain institutes. जिस तरह अभी तो सुनिया ITM group de Professor Mani is here. We have tied up with him and Guru Nanak group of institutions like Hyderabad, which these two institutes have offered, like ITM has offered for all their MBA or engineering and other pharmacy courses. He will, Professor Mani will tell more about it in some time. They are offering 50 to 70% scholarship jode courses hai, Panvel which we have, they will offer that. Similarly, Guru Nanak institution jode hai, they are offering engineering and BDS courses and pharmacy courses, MBA courses bhi. They are offering 100% scholarship for EduSIC children, those who goes through us, or 5 students every year in engineering and 5 students in MBA, up to 100%. Considering your ranking, your marks and the condition that you meet, we can get you these kind of scholarships. So that's all. And for any more information, you can always email us at edusic@gmail.com. And now we will open the forum for questions because people are waiting to have answers for their. Thank you. So I'll just give you the questions and either of the speakers can answer. The first question is about a person, a 12th grade student. He's Kamal Jot Singh. He has said that I am a 12th grade student and an aspiring commercial pilot. Considering the country's economy has been hit, I have seen few of my role model pilots losing their jobs. So as this, and they suggest young trainee pilots stop their training because there's a huge downfall in pilot employment rate. I would need another 3 to 4 years before I may apply for a job. Will the economic condition of the country will recover? And training is expensive, so please guide me.
So it's very, there's a solution to his problem. One is he wants to be a pilot. He can do a BTech in engineering, which is combined with a degree in flying as well. So what that ensures is after he finishes his BTech, which is a 4-year program in most universities in America, he can then either qualify as an engineer in case the aviation industry is not recovered, or he can continue as a pilot if things are doing fine. But addressing this issue of what if the economy does not recover? The answer to that, of course, nobody has a crystal ball. But if this is not the first COVID to hit the world. We have already had 2 such epidemics the one called SARS very early in 2003, and then MERS later on. And economies recovered both in China and Korea where this epidemic hit. It was not a pandemic, but an epidemic. And the economies recovered within a year. But keeping in mind that this is the worst thing we've ever seen. So maybe it takes 2 to 3 years for the economy to go back to where it used to be. And again, none of us is an economist and none of us holds a crystal ball. So assuming worst case scenario, it takes 3 years for the economy to come back up. All these are young kids, they're 10th and 12th standard students. By the time they graduate, the economy will definitely have come back on rails. So I do not see the need to worry and fear what's going to happen day after tomorrow. Let's worry about what's going to happen today. So let's plan for a bad day after tomorrow and then work hard to ensure that things go out the way you plan them to be.
Thank you, sir. Professor Mani, this is one question. There's a girl, Vineet Kaur. She's asking, what is the scope of Bachelor of Audiologist and Speech Language Pathology? And her second question is, what are the courses other than MBBS for biology students? These two things.
That's a very comprehensive question. And the answer goes as follows. There is a huge area in India called paramedical sciences or allied health sciences. This dimension of paramedical sciences has 3 major courses today, which are in great demand. The first is nursing, the second is pathologist, and the third is optometrist. Pathologist, I'm sure all of us are reading in COVID times when you go for the blood test, the swabs have to be taken and so on and so on. So that is where the pathologist plays a very important role. This is a course of 3 years called BSc MLT. MLT means Medical Lab Technologist. You get jobs very easily in the large chains like Thyrocare, Suburban Diagnostics, and in any large hospital because every hospital has testing facilities. The second career which I mentioned, optometry, is what we say in Hindi, chashme ka doctor. Please note, I didn't say aankhon ka doctor. Aankhon ka doctor is called ophthalmologist. He looks at the eye, finds out if there is a defect like retina, like glaucoma, like cataract, does operations. That is the job of a doctor. But when the doctor sees कि आपकी नजर में कोई कमजोरी है, वो कहते हैं आप ऑप्टोमेट्रिस्ट के पास जाओ. वो सारे अपने मशीन के साथ आपका पावर चेक करते हैं. फिर किसी को कहते हैं आप -5 हो, किसी को कहते हैं आप बाइफोकल हो, किसी को कहते हैं आपको रेटिना का एंगुलर प्रॉब्लम है. अकॉर्डिंगली हम सारे लोग अलग अलग किस्म के चश्मा पहन रहे हैं, जैसे आप स्क्रीन पे देखते हो. इस चश्मे के सिलेक्शन में, इस फ्रेम के सिलेक्शन में और लेंसेज के सिलेक्शन में जो आप हमारी मदद करता है, उसे कहते हैं ऑप्टोमेट्रिस्ट. आज की तारीख में कॉन्टैक्ट लेंसेज आर आल्सो इन ग्रेट डिमांड, so you can remember that is also part of the profession called optometry. Titan Eye, Reliance Vision Express, Lawrence and Mayo, ऐसे सारे बहुत सारे companies हैं who are hiring students who complete optometry. The course is a 4-year course. It's called BSc in optometry. Mind you, 4 years, 3 years of theory and 1 year of practical. Pathology was a 3-year course which includes the practical. The third profession is called nursing, and that is the most noble profession. As we always say, Florence Nightingale is the first name that comes to mind. Mother Teresa is the second name which comes to mind. Though she was not an officially qualified nurse, I think she nursed more people to good health than anybody else. The BSc nursing is again a 4-year course which includes 1 year of practicals. After these 3 courses, you can get a job in any good institution. You don't have to do MBBS. You don't have to do BDS. You don't have to do pharmacy to get into these careers. The fourth career which this young child was asking about is called audio and speech therapy, which is related to the fact that just like you have an ENT doctor, ear, nose, and throat, just like you have a chashme ka doctor, today we are noticing all over the world, people are having hearing problems and speech problems. Hearing problems because most of us, and especially the younger generation, keep their headphones on for at least 6 to 8 hours a day while they are traveling, while they are at home, etc. Now, when in a webinar, it is required. It's not required always. So audio and speech therapy has to deal with hearing, and second is speaking. Some people have a lisp, some people have a stammer, some people cannot speak continuously. The treatment of all this through counseling therapy is all about audio and speech therapy. This course is also available as a 3-year degree course all over India. Most of the recognized institutions come under a body called RCI, Rehabilitation Council of India. So you can check up the website for more specific details. The first 3 courses which I mentioned are available at the ITM Institute of Health Sciences in Panvel, in Baroda, and also in Raipur. So if any of you are interested, just look up the website, get more details. As Paramjit Singh ji has already said, we have scholarships available. You can reach out to us through EduSIC.
Thank you, sir. Now this question has 2 components, both for the Colonel Mahendra Singh ji and KP Singh ji also. This gentleman is doing his BDS dentist. He's a young doctor, 3rd year. He says, what is the scope in the army for BDS? And what is the scope abroad for BDS? Both he has asked. So first, Colonel Mahendra ji, to see, you are muted actually. Can you just, yeah, please.
So for Army, we have BDS vacancies. There are not so many, but they're short service commission, 5 years extendable to 10 years. So Army does take, though Army has got its own dental college at Secunderabad, but Army also opens up vacancies for picking up BDS from outside. So there is an entrance interview. So you can apply seeing the notification by Director General Armed Forces Medical Sciences. So they will put on the ads, but I can also tell you the seats are not much. So the seats vary from year to year, but there are doctors who join after BDS from civil. That's it.
So coming to the second part of the question, Paramjit Virji, where he talks about BDS abroad. Well, it's a very amazing statement that if you're a dental surgeon, then you can write your own check. So the amount of money you can earn abroad is ridiculous. So you've got to apply to universities and colleges through the American Dental Association, the ADA, and we at IMFS can help you apply to the ADA and get admission. And of course, it's going to be a super long program. You've got to finish your BDS and then get your MDS and then get a license to practice. And it's going to cost you roughly around 9 to 10 years if you get onto that dentist chair and treat people. And that's going to be the story abroad. But at the end of those 10 years, you will earn so much money that you'll never have to look back. It's probably the most lucrative field among the lot.
Professor Mani, this is asking what is the degree suitable for actuarial science after HSC, just an HSC student? Yeah.
Okay. Now, the best degree for actuarial sciences is a BCom degree, because actuarial sciences has everything to do with the insurance industry and to some extent the banking industry. And a good base in commerce is the best option that I would recommend to the students. However, in current times, in Mumbai University particularly, and in some places in India, we have the Bachelors of Management Studies, BMS, which is also called as BBA in some other universities. These are good routes into getting into the actuarial science domain. In the Mumbai University, we also have a course called BBI, Bachelors in Banking and Insurance. Now, any of these are okay. But I would believe BCom gives you an overall perspective of the entire commerce domain, and this can open more doors for him when he completes his course in actuarial sciences. Please note the website name, Actuarial Society of India, can give you all the information about the different courses that they might have. It's not called ASI because there are many similar names for whom the short form is ASI. So we are clearly telling you, Google for Actuarial Society of India.
Thank you, sir. Colonel Mahendra is asking, what are the marks required to receive IAF merit in India?
The marks, they don't divulge actually, the cutoffs, they're never divulged. And but I can tell you from my experience that I have been in SSB for 6 years, the 12th marks, the students who are qualifying for NDA, I've seen their marks in the class 12th generally are above 90%. That means it doesn't mean that there's any cutoff. Cutoff is 50% in 12th, right? But it means that the entrance exam is quite tough. So if you're actually aspiring to go to an NDA, you have to firstly, I would strongly recommend go for maths as one of the subjects, because it is one of the subject where I find the students, they are not able to cope up if they don't have maths with the NDA written paper. After that, do very well in general studies, current affair knowledge, as well as English comprehension. These three papers you got to really do well, and that's what I'm trying to say, that good students have qualified. NDA by far remains as the best entry for armed forces. And if you see all these chiefs who are coming up, almost all the chiefs are ex-NDAs, because they enter at a young age and then their career graph moves very fast. It is not that others graduation entries don't come up. They can also do well, but NDA remains by far the best entry possible. And as for the UPSC cutoffs are concerned, they are never divulged, the UPSC cutoffs, at what cutoff is there. Generally, I find about 3.5 lakh students fill this form twice a year. So every NDA written exam about 3.5 lakhs, and they take I think top about 10,000 when called the 10,000 for interview. And out of that 10,000 who qualify, approximately the seats are 360, and the next NDA they have advertised 413 seats. So you can see the pass percentage is quite low, but that doesn't mean people don't pass. They do compete and they do well. I was also wanted to answer this, that the boy who asked about the pilot, commercial pilot, is not able to become. So, and he's saying that, why not? Yesterday I had a call from a student. He says, sir, I don't have 60 lakh rupees. I wanted to become a pilot, so I'm giving NDA. So can I come for guidance? I will join Air Force and fly fighter planes. And maybe later, after 20 years, when I leave, and I'll convert my lessons into commercial lessons. So you can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Kawat, this is for you. This says, I am in 12th arts and my favorite subjects are French and psychology. I would like to study abroad. Can you suggest me some fields for me? I scored 92% in 11th grade.
So there is a bachelor's in psychology itself, which the student can pick up. And thereafter, there is a master's in psychology. But we need to understand that as an international student, if she wants to go abroad, she will not be allowed to do clinical psychology or practice psychology as a medical or paramedical degree. But what she can certainly do is enter the world of psychology, become an HR consultant. Let me show you a few options that she can do via psychology coming up on your screen. I'm going to share this. Give me just a quarter of a second. So these are the options open to her in psychology. So the first one effectively is knocked out because she's an international kid. She won't be allowed to practice. But all the others that you see on the screen, and remember that forensic psychology is becoming very big. Neurology or neuropsychology is becoming extremely big. Or even the last one, sports psychology, encouraging sportsmen who have lost their confidence to get back into the game, doing extremely powerfully as well. Again, these are the top universities that offer the programs in psychology. And this is what you can do once you finish your program. Work, of course, I'm knocking the first one out again, but as a marriage or a rehab or even as an HR personnel. And you should end up earning not less than $65,000 to $70,000 per annum. That should be the bare bones minimum in the world of psychology.
Thank you, sir. Are you? Thank you. Professor Mani, this is child is asking, I am eligible for B Pharmacy if I choose medical stream in +2. Please confirm whether I'm eligible for B Pharmacy if I choose medical stream in +2 because I've done +1 in commerce.
All right. To get into the medical stream, you need to have physics, chemistry, biology in the 12th standard. That's mandatory. Second, for getting into pharmacy, you need to have written the NEET entrance exam. NEET. This is the standard entrance exam for admission into all the medical colleges and the pharmacy colleges as far as the Indian context is concerned. There may be exceptions like the world famous Armed Forces Medical College, Pune, AFMC, has its own entrance exam. But when we are talking about the entrance exam into all the other colleges, then you need to have physics, chemistry, biology in the 12th standard, and you should have written the NEET exam. Both these are mandated. I want to take half a second more. The same child who asked about actuarial sciences has posed a question to me by mistake privately, and I happened to read it. The child says that he is a 12th standard science student and wants to pursue actuarial sciences. Now, there are two parts to it. You can still move on to BCom and continue into actuarial sciences. There are also courses called BSc Actuarial Sciences. These have come into India in the last couple of years. The reason for this is actuarial sciences has only two bases, mathematics and statistics. And science students tend to be good in maths and stats if they like the two subjects. But having said that, when you are applying actuarial sciences, it is to banking and insurance. So knowledge of commerce in banking and insurance will be a huge advantage. So even if you're a 12th science student, apply to BCom in the first year and migrate your track. There is no major benefit doing BSc Actuarial Sciences as far as my opinion goes.
Thank you, sir. Colonel Saab, this is a boy saying that I am in standard 12 now and preparing for NDA. I wanted to know that if I want to pursue my career in the Air Force as a pilot, if I'm unable to clear NDA, then what do I do?
So for Air Force, NDA is of course the best option. And in case you are a PCM student, my friend, then work little hard, you will crack NDA. I can assure you. It's not that difficult, right? And also must tell you, Air Force, you have to fill Air Force as your first option, right? So do that. It is very much possible. You must prepare for written in case you have time. We are having online sessions. We can help you augment your preparation, though I'm not saying that totally we will help you. You have to put your efforts. Otherwise, after graduation, you can go through CDS, Combined Defense Services, Army, Navy, Air Force, and the graduation preferably have maths and physics, because Air Force people do stress on maths and physics in your graduation. And you can do engineering after 12th in case you are not able to do NDA. Don't worry, do engineering, and thereafter go for technical branches of the Air Force. For flying, you have to go through CDS, that is the UPSC written exam, followed by SSB interview. And if you go for engineering, then you don't have to give a written exam. It will be straight away called for your SSB interviews, and you become an aeronautical engineer.
Thank you.
I hope I have answered your question.
Thank you, sir. This question is by a young boy. He says, I'm an alpha thalassemia patient with learning disability. Just appeared for my 10th standard, awaiting results. Request you to kindly guide me for my career as my family is facing financial problems. So what can be the best course for me without paying much fees?
Well, I would look at it this way. You can take up any course which you are interested in. I think that's the starting point, because you're still in the 10th. We don't know enough about your medical condition, so I'm not going to guess about it or say anything related to that. Please try to answer this question for yourself. What is it that interests you? What is it that you would want to study further? Today, with all the technological advancements in the world, there are so many teaching tools, digital methods which are available, which can help you overcome all your inabilities. But the starting point is two. First, what are you interested in? And second, have the confidence that you can achieve. So please keep these two things in mind, that have the confidence that you can do it and decide which area you would like to get into. As Paramjit Singh already said, there are enough and more scholarships available for meritorious students. I'm sure you can go in that direction. So first, decide the area and keep your confidence untouched. Don't let anybody worry you about your health condition. I'm sure you will overcome it with the blessings of the gods and all the support from EduSIC and the team present here.
Thank you, sir. Definitely. We will definitely do our best if you approaches us. And Kamal, this is for you. I plan to pursue masters in data science and analytics abroad. I've scored 7.5 band in IELTS. Am I eligible for any scholarship?
First of all, scholarship is never given to you based on your IELTS score. It's given on your entire profile. And if you go back to my talk, where of course my puppy was creating a ruckus, so I apologize for that. But I tried to tell you that you need to build up your profile, so which will include not just your IELTS, but also your extracurricular, co-curricular activities, your score up to the, since you're a master's program you're looking at, up to the undergrad. So your BTech or B, whatever you're doing, and I hope it's in computer science or computer engineering. So all the 4-year scores will matter to build your profile, plus your teamwork skills and ability to communicate, lead people, motivate people. So you have to build all of this into a package, create a strong statement of purpose. Then I have 3 people to recommend you, strong letters of recommendation by 3 people who either taught you or work with you professionally. This will help create a profile. And that will then ensure, number 1, whether you get admission into the university you want to go to, and number 2, whether you get funding or aid. And remember, if you get admission without funding or aid, it is always possible that you get funding after the first semester gets done. In fact, 90% of all IMFS students get funding in the 2nd year. And there is not a single student that I have taught over the last 23 years who had to ask their mom or dad for money for the 4th semester, which is the last semester. So money, A, should be the least criteria for your decision to go abroad or not go abroad. In fact, a lot of questions that have been popping up on my private screen have also asked the same thing, that money is a scarce commodity with COVID-19 in the air. Do you think it's wise to spend money now? Well, the key word is you're not spending, you're investing money. And number 2, in the next 3 years, things will, and they have to go back to normal. We cannot live the same way we have been over the last so many months. So things will go back to normal. Please go ahead, take that risk of putting in the money. And if you're scared of the money aspects, there are loans available. You can take loans from banks, government-owned banks or NBFCs at cheap, very low rates of interest. And if you realize, Paramjit Singh already told you how the government of India can end up paying for your interest till the time you graduate. So take that chance in yourself and build a career.
Thank you, sir. We'll just take last 2 questions. One is for Professor Mani, is asking, commerce without maths, what is the scope for that?
Commerce without maths has very limited scope because commerce is full of accounting and finance. So broadly speaking, I would recommend that you continue to study mathematics in case you wish to pursue a career in commerce. Further, if you are taking the commerce route, eventually you will have to either do the CA, ICWA, CS, which I mentioned, or you might end up doing an MBA. All of these require a foundation in mathematics. So I would not recommend that you take the commerce route without mathematics. The only exception would be if you're deciding to do commerce and necessarily take up law, in which case you will do commerce only for 11th and 12th. And there is a 5-year integrated course in law available after 12th standard. For details about that course, you should look up the examination called CLAT, C-L-A-T, Common Law Admission Test. I want to use this opportunity to remind all students, after 12th, most admissions depend on your test score, whether it is the engineering entrance called JEE, the medical entrance called NEET, the law entrance called CLAT, the architecture entrance called NATA. All of these are tests. Therefore, it's always good to identify before you reach 12th standard what your aptitude is. In case you are confused, reach out to us for an aptitude test. We can help you with that also. But don't take a decision based on tossing a coin, that heads aaya to I will do NATA, tails aaya to I will do engineering. It just doesn't work. Please use that as a good tool to have an unbiased view about your career. And on this, just one more point I want to suggest to everybody, which KP also brought out beautifully. Don't worry about current times. Times will change, and they'll change for the better. Always after a setback, there will be a comeback. And so don't worry at all. And on that note, I want to only say one last thing. When you are planning your career, have plan A and plan B. I will do engineering, seat nahi mili, I will do biotechnology. I want to do engineering, nahi mila, I'll become a scientist. Don't fool yourself by saying, मैं next year IIT entrance exam लिखूंगा, मुझे ये साल नहीं मिला तो कोई बात नहीं, एक साल के तजुर्बे के बाद मुझे next year मिलेगा, शायद नहीं मिलेगा. Because every year 1 lakh students will get added to the competition. No institution in the world is worth waiting 1 year for. This is my strong personal opinion. I feel have a plan B. If plan A doesn't succeed, move on to plan B. And at any stage you're confused, reach out to a counselor for guidance. And I'm sure through EduSIC with Paramjit Singh and his team, we are all there to help you carve out a good career for yourself.
Thank you, sir. This question, as you rightly said about options, he has too many options, this boy. He says, I, Gurmeher Singh, I'm promoted to 12 this year. I'm in commerce stream. I'm interested in joining Indian Navy, but if unfortunately I cannot join, I want to do CFA after graduation, and then I want to try my luck in UPSC exam. So please guide me. What should I do? He has too many options ready to.
I think, yes, you should handle the second part of the question as a successful civil servant of the nation.
No, I like Mahendra Singh answer the last question.
Just...
he wants to join Navy. He said, if I don't get Navy, and is there any restriction after doing commerce? Can he go to Navy? There's no restriction, I think.
As far as Navy is concerned, with commerce, I think NDA would be a better option. Otherwise, in Navy, you can join the executive branch, but not the engineering branch, even after graduation, without engineering or without maths. Navy does have executive branch where you don't need to have science. They will teach you the science which is required, the marine sciences, whatever is required, they will teach you in their training. Okay. So you can, certainly you can.
Okay, thank you. The last question is, he is asked simply whether for government jobs like UPSC or railways, whether any, what stream is needed. So no stream is needed that I can answer. Any graduate in any field, commerce, science, any subject can apply for all these UPSC exams. So that's it. I think we'll end on this note. And thank you very much. I want to thank all of you, the three speakers, Professor Mani, KP Singh, and Colonel Mahendrapal Singh. Thank you very much for patiently answering all these questions and explaining everything so beautifully. To the viewers, we like to say that we are still open. We have given you the emails. They have given you their numbers. We are always available to you for any questions, any help that we can do in your career. कोई भी help चाहिए, we are always there. And we are again thankful to the Dadar Gurdwara team, Kulwant Singh ji and Manmohan Singh ji, for being always there and trying and jointly doing something for the community. Manmohan Singh ji, would you like to say anything in the end? Manmohan, to see the Kulwant Singh.
Pradhan Sahab, I guess I just request him to just say a final vote of thanks, thanking everybody. But I once again request everybody, every student, every parent to be focused and give proper weightage to education, so as the life coming ahead will be more smooth, more successful. And at the same time, what we are hearing all about is one WhatsApp I got recently was, we should also train our children how to handle failures. And I request Paramjit Singh ji, but next subject of this webinar should be how to handle success is very easy, but how to handle failures. That will work on it, and definitely we'll do a next webinar on that. I request President Sardar Raghbir Singh ji Gill to thank you everybody. I personally thank each one of you for this wonderful webinar. Yeah, over to Sardar Raghbir Singh Gill, President Shri Guru Singh Sabha.
मैं आज ਦੇ ਸੈਮੀਨਾਰ ਜੋ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਪਾਰਟਿਸਿਪੈਂਟ ਜੋ ਹਨ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਹੈਲੋ
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੀ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਸਾਹਿਬ परमजीत सिंह जी एसपी सिंह साहब और जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट आज इस सेमिनार में हिस्सा ले रहे हैं मैं उन सभी का आभार व्यक्त करना चाहता हूं कि आपने 10वीं और 12वीं के बच्चों को जो गाइडेंस आज आपने दिया है लेकिन मैं चाहता हूं कि जो बच्चे इसमें कामयाबी हासिल नहीं करते उनके लिए भी आगे के लिए एक सेमिनार रखा जाए कि जो बीच में पढ़ाई छोड़ जाते हैं जहाँ दिल छोड़ जाते हैं उन बच्चों को कैसे हम अपना इनकरेज करें और आगे उनको आगे लाएं जहाँ जिनके पेरेंट कोई अपना फीस वगैरह नहीं भर सकते उनके लिए सिंह सभा मुंबई तो पहले से ही काम करती आ रही है अगर और कोई अपने हमारे सिख भाइयों को जरूरत होगी तो उसमें हम अपना और भी पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे मैं चाहता हूं कि आप इसी तरह के आगे भी सेमिनार करते रहें जैसे पीछे भी आपने किया था लेकिन बहुत सक्सेसफुल गए थे लेकिन आगे कुछ ना कुछ कम्युनिटी के लिए जहाँ लॉकडाउन के बाद जो हमारी मुश्किलें आने वाली हैं उनको अपना कैसे सॉल्व करेंगे बहुत से लोगों की जैसे जॉब चली जाएगी उसके बारे में एक सेमिनार होना चाहिए कि वो कैसे आगे अपने फ्यूचर के लिए या अपने परिवार के लिए आगे बढ़ पाएंगे मेरा आपको रिक्वेस्ट है कि आगे एक सेमिनार ऐसा भी रखें जो उसके ऊपर चर्चा होनी चाहिए जो आज अपने मुल्क के ऊपर मुसीबत आई है उसको अपन सब मिलके कैसे आगे निकाल सकेंगे वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा वाहेगुरु जी की
बिल्कुल सर we will definitely try to do that. And again, thanking everybody, all the participants, all the students who have stayed till the end, and all our three very good, excellent speakers. Thank you for sparing your time and being with us.
Thank you, sir. And God bless you for all the work you're doing.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you very much, Vijay.
Thank you.